Hi, my name is Heli Pärna, and I'm going to read you my translation from Estonian into English from a book written by Leelo Tungal. In Estonian, the title is Seltsimees laps, and I have translated it as Comrade Child. I will be reading you from the first chapter. Some children are good and exemplary since birth. Their stockings never slide down, their hair bow never comes loose, their socks do not get stuck between their toes, and their sandals don't end up on their feet backwards. An exemplary child is not afraid of the dark, the thunder, a hawk, the bull in the kolkos, nor men in uniforms. An exemplary child does not laugh when their mouth is full of soup, does not muck around in their bowl of porridge, nor leave it to the last minute to go on the potty. In brief, nothing ever happens to the good and exemplary child that could be a source of embarrassment or sadness. It would be good to be an exemplary child. If I were a good and exemplary child, then Mommy would not have left me. That much is clear. I suppose she has been very forgiving with me so far, but now she has finally reached her limit. Because something always happens to me that wouldn't even occur to a good and exemplary child. When I'm helping Mommy dry the dishes, it will most definitely be the finest cup or plate that slips through my fingers, and right after it has already been washed, rinsed, and dried. If there is just one puddle on the road, I will most certainly end up in it. If there are two men in long coats standing in the doorway, holding guns, then I will trip over one of those huge boots. And if there is a heap of books and papers in the middle of the room, I will land face down in the middle of it. And Mommy's eyes get watery looking at me. "Lock that brat up somewhere," yelled the man in the leather coat and pointed his thick finger in my direction. Mommy picked me up and pressed me tightly against her chest. Her eyes were sparkly with tears, and I started to wail. I did in fact hurt my tummy when I fell against one of the sharp book edges, but that tiny pain was not even half as bad as the ugly voice of the ugly man. Brat is an ugly word, and he obviously meant me. How awful! Grown-ups are really allowed everything. Complete strangers pull the drawers out of our desk and scatter papers on the floor, tear books off the shelves and throw them on top of the papers, but Mommy doesn't say one bad word to them. She only sighs. If I leave my toys on the floor in the evening, rummage around in Mommy and Daddy's drawers, or add a few pictures in some boring book, I always get in big trouble. The mister in the black coat was standing like a real man, one hand in his pocket and the other pointing at me. "Get this bastard out of the way." "Go to your room and be a good child," said Mommy, shooting an angry look at the mister, like pew pew. "It will all be all right. Sometimes misunderstandings just happen." She took me to the bedroom and switched on the ceiling light. Mommy knew, of course, how scared I was of the darkness. Although it was still daytime, the room seemed quite dark. The old and bare white willow was peeping inside through the lace curtains. Sometimes, as a bad joke, I guess, it would press its wrinkled face close against the glass. "Look at your books in the meantime, or play with your building blocks," Mommy said, and closed the door behind her. "Sign," came the disgusting voice from the other side of the door. "And put down the date as well. 12th April, 1951. So strange. How come Mommy was listening to that disgusting man and left me all alone sulking in the bedroom? Things seemed really serious. I had to become a good child, no matter what it took.